Jerry, tell me about the room that we're in right now.
Bill, this room typically before the Hometown Teams exhibit came to town was actually the Wayland City Commission room, and we did have in the back of the room here, it's kind of a storage area that we had collected a few jackets and memorabilia from area schools, local schools primarily, and just kind of a catch-all room. Now, along comes the Smithsonian Institute, sponsored by the Humanities Council, Hometown Teams exhibit, and we began to think, well, this may be the room that we want to use as our local display for our hometown teams, and with the national exhibit, which will be out on the school ground. So we kind of moved things around, and I looked around the room, and I want to share this with you, I guess. This table here is actually a large conference table, and my initial thinking was, as I pushed it against the wall, I kind of thought, well, you know, that's a big table. And I began to second guess myself and underestimated my friends and folks in the area, I guess, just good mountain folks. And I began to think, well, that's such a huge table. What if we don't get anything enough to fill it? So I thought, well, maybe I should get a smaller table. Well, it took about a week, and obviously things came in. Not only did we fill the big table up, we've had to put a second tier on it, and we've had to add tables in every wall around the room now. And so we've been blessed with people in the area who's been willing to share, and not only share the artifacts and memorabilia, trophies, and other things like that, but I have heard such touching stories of what sports and athletics and the role it played in their lives, which is the theme of the Hometown Teams. And so I've just been overwhelmed with the goodness of people willing to share, not only schools, but individuals and other groups that have brought items in, and with them comes their stories. And so we've been blessed to have some good local help that's been able to identify some things, even picked up a few of the pictures to go with these trophies, which adds a face to these teams. The 1956 Car Creek Tournament trophy here, and obviously there's the team that won that 56 state tournament. And by the way, they beat Wayland in the semifinals, so kind of mixed feelings about that one, but we are thrilled to have it here today. But I think, Bill, probably my favorite of all of the displays, and I could go over and look at the Wayland memorabilia and the jackets and everything, and around the room from Belfry to Van Leer to schools that are no longer around. But my favorite story has to be the 28 Car Creek team and all of the good tales that have gone into that. But to have on display here in front of me from 1928 is the runner-up trophy to Ashland. I think there was maybe a couple, 3 overtimes, I can't recall, that Ashland beat Car Creek, but both were invited to the national tournament in Chicago. And I have before me, as I look here, 2 basketballs from the 1928 team, in which Car Creek beat Austin, Texas, then Car Creek beats Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I can't recall the third game that they won, but if I'm not mistaken, if they had won the 4th game, they would have actually played Ashland for a national championship. So between Ashland and Car Creek, Kentucky and East Kentucky in particular had some pretty good basketball.